Recently I had a comment that was posted on one of my YouTube videos that it was kind of disappointed that I didn't do more videos. And the real reason is I really haven't had time. I probably will get back to them soon, but right now, I've got other things in my life that I'm more interested in. But I did come across the fact that I had made a lot of Facebook Live videos, and there was a lot of good information in them that some of it wasn't in the videos that I had currently listed. So what I decided to do was list these to my YouTube channel. And I hope you enjoy them. I hope you find more knowledge in them. And also, if you're not a subscriber, well, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit the bell so you'll be notified. You select all. And if you like them, give them a big thumbs up. I hope you enjoy. We'll be discussing Patina and we'll be discussing making a split bell. So anyway, we're getting about time to get started. Okay. Let's see here. My feed, I'm not getting a feedback. I'm not getting a feedback, so if I'm a little slow to answer, my bandwidth isn't real good out here, and so it's causing me to not actually see my feed. So if there's any comments, it might be maybe I'll get it here in a little bit. That happened the last time, but if there's any comments, I'm not going to be able to comment back until I get a return feed. Okay. What we're going to be talking about, I'm going to switch over here again. We're going to be talking about, and I have some things here to show you, but we're going to be talking about patinas. Now, this is Black Max. This is Rio Grande, where I picked this up at. They've got silver black. I believe it's the same thing. This is hydrochloric acid, and hydrochloric acid is very dangerous. Now, as far as when it's handled properly, there's no problem with it, but when you don't handle it properly, it's always a possibility of getting burned, a possibility of you getting severe burn in your eyes or on your skin, and the fumes of it needs to be used in a well ventilated area. Now, I'm going to give you a little idea of how strong this is. I still have a feed, so I can't see when you're commenting. And I hate to jump around too much, otherwise I might slow down my bandwidth. But what I'm going to show you here, now I keep this in just a jar, because if anything happens and it leaks out of here, I don't want it to get on everything else and eat it up. So I keep it in this jar as extra protection. Now, what I've got here is I've got baking soda. Now, I put up a YouTube video on patina because it was going to be real hard to do this with the steps and everything else on a live feed, because I don't have a camera for it. But I'm going to I hope you're still getting video. It's probably pretty low. It's bad whenever you have to do this through your phone for a hotspot. Don't have internet out here in the boonies. But anyway, what I'm doing here, and I don't know if you've seen it, but I'm going to do it again. I put some of this in this water so you can see the reaction that hydrochloric acid does. You see the bubbling, and the more of it you have, the more bubbling you're going to get, because hydrochloric acid is really a strong chemical to use, but the outcome from it is really nice. The patina on it, and if you look at the YouTube video that I posted, you'll see. Now this was the piece that I was putting patina on, and I wanted a certain effect. I just wanted it to set off, you know, kind of the shadow in between this bead wire and a little dark here. I wanted to go ahead and polish the edge, and then get a little detail from the stamping area on the bell. But the Black Max is nothing like liver of sulfur. Liver of sulfur it's a pretty, well, it's definitely a mild chemical compared to the other, but you can't achieve the dark patina that you get with the hydrochloric acid. It just does a much better job, and it's just a whole lot better product to use as far as if you want a good dark patina. I'm becoming kind of concerned because I don't have my feed coming back, and I'm going to open up another one so I can kind of see what's going on, and hopefully I won't drop off too much of the bandwidth in the process. But it would be choppy if I watch it on the website, which I can see. I'll just hopefully I won't drop off too much of the bandwidth in the process. But okay, let me turn that off. And I know I am I'm live anyway. Okay, we'll go on from there, and I'll just hope for the best. But like I say, unless I get a feed, I can't answer any comments on there unless I get a feedback. Let me know what's going on and everything that way. So anyway, if you want to know about patina, your best bet is to check out the new YouTube video on patina. I went ahead. There was a lot of you that was interested in polishing, and hang on just a second. Sorry about that, but that's about the way things go when you're live. Okay, I used in my video, I explained these are bristle diamond brushes. This one here is a 1 micron, which is the finest one that I have. I don't have a need to go any finer, and I have a 6 micron, and then I have a 400 grit. Now the 400 grit is it's as coarse a one as I need. If by the time you do your sanding work, and if you pay attention when you're doing your work, there's no need to get something coarser
as far as for cleaning. Now, this is a 3-inch. Now, they do make, and I have a couple, and I'm not even sure that I remember what size they are. I haven't even put them on, but I'll get one out here. They make them in this size. You just stack them on your little rotary tool bit. Stack, I don't know, about 6 of them together, and screw them down, and then you can use these, and they work the same way. Always make sure when you're running these that the rotation is where these bristles are turning this way. If you turn it this way, it'll start snapping off your bristles. You don't want to turn it that way. This is actually, I use this on a tapered screw shaft. Now, it's actually made for a 1/4-inch shaft. They do make them for a 1/4-inch shaft, and I ordered these wrong, but they work just fine that same way. It's easy to screw them on straight, but I want to be aware that you don't have to get the big one, but these work real good. Whenever I was taking silversmithing and quartzite, this was what they used, and it really works good. So once you finish with your basic 400 grit or 1200 grit, whatever you do with your sanding block and sandpaper, then you can turn around and you can put this on your polishing machine and polish it up real good. Then once you're finished with that, and I go through all this it's a 2-part series that I did, but I go through all this in the first one, then it'll go into the tumbler with jewelry shot, and I use the mixed shot, so it's got all the different shape shots, does a better job. And then once you're finished with that and it's good and clean, then you would put on your patina, because your patina is only going to go on as good as where it can contact metal. Now, I've seen some work to where it wasn't pickled long enough, and you end up with flux still in a lot of the areas, because it'll get down in some of the grooves and stuff. What you need to do to keep that from happening is if it's not clearing out, take and put your piece in there and move it around with your copper tongs, stir it around so it moves that pickle around in that area, and it gets it out, and so it'll be clean in there. But always make sure that it's really clean before you decide to do your patina, because whether you're just going to use liver sulfur or whether you're going to use hydrochloric acid, you need to have a clean piece for it to work on. And safety precautions, I can't overemphasize on safety. Whenever I patina with the hydrochloric acid or the liver of sulfur, either way. The liver of sulfur, you get by. If you get a little on you, it's not going to take and burn you. But hydrochloric acid, like I say, it is a strong acid, and but that's what makes it do such a good job. And make sure that you wear latex gloves. Make sure that you have an apron on. Make sure that you have safety glasses at least. If you have a shield, it'd be good to have it. You don't plan for any of these things to happen, but when they happen, you want to be prepared, and make sure that you have your baking soda and water there, so if you do get some on you, you can just put it on it to neutralize it right off to mitigate whatever damage it's done. Let me see if I actually got a feedback. No, so like I say, I can't see any comments, and I'm hoping. In fact, I can't see very many viewers either, and I can't watch it at the same time. But I'm sorry. Like I say, technical difficulties. And okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to discuss making this bell, because there's this is a nice technique. Now this one is a little bit large. This was one of the first ones that I'd made, and since then I decided that I like it better whenever I use a smaller double half round here. Now I'm currently putting together a YouTube video for this, but you can see how much narrower this is, and the effect too whenever it's put on here is better, because this bell kind of it's just a little heavy for the piece in my opinion. But this is all we're using. I'm using this particular one. If you have a pencil, if you want to write anything down, I can tell you this one came from Rio Grande. This is a double half round pattern wire. It's 1.62 by 40 thousandths, and the numbers 102006. And like I say, I prefer this one. It's about the right size for most of mine. But it's a simple process. All we have to do is we cut a piece 1.25 inches long. Now, once we cut this, what we're going to do is we're going to square up the end, and I've already squared this up, and I've already tapered it. Now what we'll do is we'll taper one side at a 45 degrees on the flat side, which will be the inside. We'll taper it, and then we'll taper 45 degrees on the other side. And the reason why I say this here is because it makes it easier to understand what's going on. What we're going to do is we're going to bend this piece around, and we're going to make it into a shape like this. As far as we're going to bring this in, that 45 is going to give us a good joint where it fits right there. So what we would do, and when I say this, I recommend that you use a bell tool. It works real good. You can do it with just something round. It's a little bit harder, but if you're going to get a bell tool, get a bell tool like this. Now I have another bell tool, and it looks similar, but if you notice on the end of these, one's got a concave area and the other one's flat. That concave area tends to scratch the outside of whatever you're trying to bend with this. It seems like it works better, but it really doesn't. And you're not going to bite it hard anyway, but you're going to take this end where your bevel is on the smooth side of this, where you bevel, and you're just going to take this in and you're going to stick it just a little bit past the end of your tool. And depending on how exactly you want your bell and how long of tail piece you want or whatever, but I just put it where it's just a little bit past the end of the tool there sticking out. And we're going to fold this around, and it's best when you fold this around, put pressure close to your tool so that you make a tight bell. And when you bring it around to where it lines up and comes into this piece, because you want it to come in there straight, because you're going to need it straight. Now a lot of times I get a little curve on the back. What I'll do is I'll come back here and I'll just straighten this up a little bit so this piece will be straight, and then I'll bend this around a little bit more and bring it together. Now it still has a slight groove in between it, and this is a little bit out of the line. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to rest my tool in the wrong place. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my nylon jaw flat pliers, and I'm just going to bend this around and get it where it's lined up straight. And now I changed my background. The black seemed not to focus as well, so I hope that you're getting a better view of this. But then I'm just going to take them up here, and I'm going to clamp a little bit of pressure here. And whenever I clamp this pressure on here, back here, it's going to close that up, and I'm not going to take and bow that or nothing. But anyway, now that I've got it closed, I'm ready to solder. Now for the sake of time, and so we don't drag this on too long. I'm going to do this magically. Now I'm pretty good at magic. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece of I'm going to find a tool, my other pick for a pointer. I'm going to put a piece of solder after I flux this up right in against this back side. I'm just going to cut a piece roughly, just a little shorter than the width of this. And I'm going to place it right in behind here, and then I'll solder it on. And like magic, wow, you see that? We got it all soldered in place. Now a piece that big might be a little extra because you can see a little bit of extra solder here on the back side, and if you don't want that, we'll use a smaller piece. You'll do better. But now I've got this soldered here, and the reason why we soldered this, we're going to cut this and we're going to split it, and we want all this to come together. Now I recommend anytime you make a bell, go ahead and solder it here, because you don't want it to come out, and it's an easy task to do anyway. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to take our saw, and we're going to put this in a vise. Now if you don't have a plastic or rubber jawed vise, don't worry about it, because you can get by without it. Just, and I had a piece here, but it's done went somewhere too. But anyway, just take a piece of felt and wrap it on each side of this bottom, and vise it up in your metal vise. It'll protect it and won't scratch it. And you're going to saw this piece, and you want to try to go straight on front and back, so don't get in a hurry. And you're going to come straight down here, and you're going to saw all the way down to this point right here, just below where this connects. So you've got it all the way. Now magically I'll saw this and real quick. Okay, now let's see. No, now it's like magic. Okay, now magically I've sawed this piece, and like I say, I've sawn it all the way down to right here. Now we discussed before, and it's in one of my videos there, this expensive tool here, a spreader. You can buy them or you can make one. It's just an old steak knife. But we're going to use this to spread this. Now, you could solder this onto your piece right now, but I would say for working sake and not worrying about getting solder back in your joint, if you do actually make it walk the wrong way, it's better to go ahead and spread it now. So what you're going to do is you're going to put this piece in here, and you can hold this with your nylon pliers, and you're going to push it all the way down to the bottom of that groove. Now all you're going to do is you're going to hold on to it, and you're going to spread this, and you're going to spread this out until you get the width that you want. But you need to spread it out wide enough, I would say, at least to where if you have one of these file kits, it's just like I say, all your general files, you'll find a knife file in here, and what this is, it has a pretty sharp edge on this side, and it's flat here. Well, when you spread that out, you want to spread it enough you can take this knife file and get all the way down to the bottom at least. And you're going to file the inside of this, because there's actually, where it curves, there's a little flat. You want to smooth this up where you might have sawed off a little bit, and make it look like both sides are even. Okay. Once you've done that, you're ready to go ahead and tin a piece. Now I cut this one a little bit long. When I was making all my preps, what I'll do is go back and saw this off, or I might just leave it long and use it for a different project that I might want a longer tail on it when I solder it on. But the reason we soldered, or we tapered this back piece, is because when we solder this on, we don't want a square end coming in. You don't necessarily have to taper it all the way down, but taper it to where you don't have an edge to catch. And also you can take and file or sand this just a little bit rounded too for a different effect. That's, like I say, that's design, but you have to decide. But you can see how easy it is to make this. And this same banding here, which for the bigger banding you might use for a ring, you know, a little bit bigger ring, make a split shank or something, or even just a straight shank. And this one you could too. Now it's lighter. If you want one band that you can, or one piece that you can use for more projects, you might want the bigger one. I just keep some of each. It's like I say, I like the smaller, the smaller material, because it doesn't make my bell as heavy, even though it's a big pendant. It to me, it just seems to have a little too much on the top. But once you do that, and there's some YouTube videos talks about putting your bell on, as far as you just put you flux everything else up and put you a piece of solder, normally just about the width of this would be a long enough snippet, or 1/8 inch, and just lay it across here diagonally and heat it up until it melts. You want to just bond to here. That's what we call tinning. You don't want to flow it all out. You just want to tin it to here so it's already attached, and then when you go to attach it to your pendant, all you've got to do is warm this up and heat your base plate, and you can solder the other side to your base plate. Let me see if I can do something to get some video, because right now I don't. Hopefully I won't lose too much streaming, and I can always turn down the volume so I don't hear it. But if there's any questions, I'd sure like to address them. So bear with me if it gets a little choppy. Video. So bear with me if it gets a little choppy. Well, I show video going, but hopefully I didn't lose it, because bear with me if it gets a little choppy. Yeah, I showed I've reconnected, but like I say, I still don't have a stream. I see. Hopefully I didn't lose it, because bear with me if it gets a little choppy. Yeah, I showed I've reconnected, choppy. I'm going to, like I say, I don't get off. I still don't have a stream. And see, okay. Anyway, anyway, it's easy design, and like I say, I went more in depth, and I went more in depth on polishing. But the thing about solder is, the best way is try to perfect your solder techniques. Now, tinning to the back of a piece is always a good way. You could do like a lot of items that you solder, and you could put your solder next to it, but it always shows. But when you tin the back side, as you can see, there's no solder cleanup, and that's an important thing to consider whenever you're soldering, is how to solder it to where your solder's not going to be on your plate in an area that you don't want to see it. I know it's hard. When I solder my trim, I put the solder on the outside, but on most of my pieces, I file back the sides so much. But that wouldn't be a place. I mean, this one had extra solder in some places at the bottom, but I just had to, take a file and sandpaper and clean it up and get it off. But when you have a piece set up to where your trim is away from it, like your beads might be out, be sure and don't place your solder in between that area. Try to put it in an area that you're going to remove later, or that's easy access, because other than that, there's no real easy way to clean it off. You're just going to have to, like I say, prevention is the best thing. That's the same way with scratches. Always try to clean up your scratches. And it's like this one looks like it's got some special sparkly design on the back because I sanded off some of it, but I didn't sand off all of it. But because the metal started to reticulate because it was held too hot for too long, and that's something that happens. But just be aware of what causes these things, and you're less likely to do them. Well, even though I know what caused this, I still did it. But when you're doing a live stream and you're concentrating on what you're telling people and what your operation you're doing, sometimes you don't pay good attention to one or the other. Okay, yeah, definitely. I definitely don't have good speed, and it's almost going to make me want to add another internet connection or something because my hotspot just doesn't work quite well enough. I'd say maybe if there was something else. The only thing I can tell you is take and check out my YouTube channel. You can find a few of the YouTube videos posted in the files group for video links. And if you subscribe, which some of you have, you'll get a notification whenever a new one comes out. But what I would suggest is if there's something that you want to see and it's something that I'm capable of showing, let me know. If I can do it on a live video, I'll do it on a live video. Sometimes it's the time issue is a factor because you have steps in between, so you can't really do that like polishing. I know a lot of you don't want to just see me spinning the wheel for a long time and stuff like that. So it's better doing a YouTube video for that. I'll plug the other two sister groups too. We've got the D-Stash group, Cabochon and Jewelry D-Stash. I would try to say that. And then we've got Cabochon Auction Place. So if you're looking for some jewelry supplies, well, the D-Stash would be a good place to check out. Or if you have some that somebody else would need, because there's a lot of people that's coming up. And I know I've got a lot of stuff. I've got a list I keep saying I'm going to. But that would be a good group to find it. Cabochon Auction Place, we have a lot of Cabochon artists over there, and our group, we restrict it to artisan cabochons as far as it has to be a lapidary artist that makes them. We don't do any of the manufactured cabs and stuff like that. So you'll find some unique ones. Every lapidary artist has their own way of making them, so you're gonna see different types as far as the way that they're made and stuff are characteristic to each person. And and as far as price, the price isn't bad at all on a lot of them. And besides that, all I can say is comment on this live feed. I'll go back and look at the comments, and hopefully next week we won't have such a problem with to where I can't tell what's going on. But let me know what you'd like to see on a live feed. If you'd really like to see it live, which, like I say, the live feed is delayed. It has a certain amount of delay, and like mine today is I don't have a return feed, so it really creates a problem for me answering any questions. When I go to answer, I lose so much bandwidth right now. I've been staying in the red as far as for streaming, so I'm sure the video is definitely choppy. But let me know what you want to see. or address. And if you have any questions, just comment on the feed or message me, and I'll try to answer them. It's always best, I think, if you comment on the feed and they're answered there, because in the group, that's where people come to learn. And there's not a dumb question, as far as if you're asking it, somebody else is probably asking the same question, and if I can't answer it, there's going to be somebody else there that probably can. So anyway, that's going to be it for today, and we'll see what's for next week. Just let me know what you're interested in learning, and I'll see if I can't fix you up on that.